Oh yeah. Right, well we're heading for Norton. There are thousands of places called Norton, I reckon. So we're aiming to go through Norton and take the back road, maybe up to the M5. I'll see how I feel. This is in Worcestershire now. I've just done my weekly visit to my bungalow in Worcester, and all is well. I stayed overnight in one of the downstairs rooms, which was lovely and cool. They're saying it's going to be 35 degrees in this part of the world. Of course, I'm on a bike. I still got heavy-duty gloves on, but overall, it feels very pleasant. I think this is Norton, this little place we're driving through. The leaves are still quite green, although there hasn't been any rain for quite a time. And I believe in the south of England they're going to be calling it a drought soon. Not quite that bad up here, but still very dry. I've only got a small garden at the bungalow, and I've given it a fairly good watering. It's mostly shrubs, which should survive, I hope. And I'm on the Honda Hornet, which has got a name now. I call it Steve's bike because it was Steve's bike. And it's running very nicely. It's running very well and better since I put a smaller, I went back to the normal gearing and put I think it's 1 tooth less gearbox sprocket on, or 1 tooth more. What would it be? 1 tooth less. Or is it 1 tooth more? Yes, if you gear it up at the rear sprocket, you go down in teeth, but from the gearbox sprocket it would have to go up in teeth. Anyway, whatever. I've put the standard gearing on, and it's far less revvy. It's more economical, and my word, it still flies. Once you're up around the 5,000 mark, I say, on the motorway, you open the throttle and it takes off, just like the bigger bikes. I chose this bike because it hasn't got a fairing, and so a little bit of wind blast is actually quite pleasant. I did notice on the motorway though that anything above an indicated 80 tended to be a bit wearing, but the fly screen on this is quite large, and it does seem to do a little bit of work, not very much, but a little. So you can cruise at an indicated 80 on this quite readily. Above that it does tend to get a little bit wearing. Well, everyone's going quite quickly. Very often this road is quite a slow one when there's traffic on it. And there will be road work in a couple of miles. Then I have to decide which way I'm going to go back. I'm going south about 40 miles, but not all of it on the motorway, because that can be a tad boring. And it is a Friday, so might be a little bit busy, we shall see. Nobody behind. Right, this is called Severnstoke. This is a lovely little place. The Severn's to my right, the River Severn's to my right, a little way off. And that part of Severnstoke does flood. But you'd never think so when you see it like this. This is the problem when you're buying a property. Supposing you're buying somewhere this time of the year, you sort of look around you and think, oh my word, this is so lovely. This is never going to be a problem. And then you have a wet winter and you suddenly find water is lapping up on the doorstep. The bike is perhaps a little noisier than I would like, even with the baffles in. It's still a little bit throaty. I had a conversation with someone online who'd got a Hayabusa. I think it was a Busa. Anyway, they were saying that they'd ordered up a pair of Scorpions for it, end cans, which I have on this one, and I also had Scorpions on my Generation 1 Busa, and I purchased the baffles and put those in, and found it much more to my liking. There are those people that like noisy bikes, and there are others that don't. So I'm just going to stop here for a second. That's it, got something to sort out. That's it. My sat nav is a bit loose. But I've just tightened it up. This is a very old sat nav actually, one of the first riders I believe, but it still works. I mean, you can't update it, but I don't really find that a problem. The bike's ticking over nicely, and off we go again. Okay, this is the road work, and we have to see what's going on here. Oh, it looks okay. Looks like they've done a fair bit of work to it. It's only taken about 3 years. Now cars appear to be stopped now, so that, oh yes, there's a red light, I can see it. Thank you. He must be a biker. You don't normally get people letting anyone through, do you? Well, at least not in my experience. So the road work continues. Look at this traffic. Oh my goodness me. Oh my goodness. Those poor people. Well, at least with a bike you can get to the front of the queue, which is always nice. Actually, there's not much to like about driving in my opinion. I've never been a terribly keen driver. I've tried my hand at sports cars, and I always went back to bikes. Soon after I finished my training and had a proper job, I bought an E-Type, what they call a Series 1.5 fixed head coupe. And that was pretty awful actually. Of course it'd be worth a fortune now, but I got rid of it and bought myself a Triumph Trident. I mean the original one, which had its problems, I have to agree. They're not 100% reliable. I had the piston blower, the centre piston went a couple of times on that one. And eventually I sorted out the carburation such that the middle pot was getting a tad more petrol, because it got three concentric carburetors on it.